Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together.
Hey leader, this is an exciting day in history. I'm going to call it that, an exciting day in history. I am joined by two of my amazing friends and colleagues and collaborators in leadership and in my story Freedom to Be Me, to join me today to really talk about the vision and what we are co-creating together as partners, and just as a stand for transformation, a stand for the work that we have done in the rooms that we have been together, just the stand of transformation. So I have Nadia here, who is a phenomenal artist, who was a heck yes when I reached out to her and said, I would love to have you be the artist for this book. And of course, my buddy, Danielle, who, when I realized, I had this big vision, but was looking for some support in terms of just like the execution and staying where I was versus like wanting to be, 10 steps ahead of me, said also a heck yes to supporting and just really helping us be strategic in how we get this book out into the world. So thank you, Nadia and Danielle, for joining me today on this live. I guess let's get started. About a week ago? Yes, a week ago, Free to Be Me was launched into the world for pre-sales. And the next part of this book is now crowdsourcing the illustrations, the beautiful art that's going to go into this. And it started with a vision. It actually started with me doing a breathwork session that came to me of, how do I bring more people into this book? As a teacher, there's a strategy of like, I do, we do, you do. So I realized as we bring more people in collaboration to co-create the mission of Free to Be Me, the more people can feel it, connect with it, and be a stand for transformation for, our next generation of leaders. So Nadia, I'd love for you to share a little bit, like in some of the conversations that we've had, and then I'm going to hand it over to Danielle, because she's going to be more of our project manager and managing our time with this live and with sharing with you about this next phase of the launch of Free to Be Me and what we are calling in to invite you to be more part of this co-creation of the story.
So I like to say yes to projects that I'm completely aligned with, that there's no kind of like, oh, I'm sort of aligned. I'm completely a stand for children on this planet to have skills to be themselves, to lead as they are instead of having to be somebody else. Like as an artist, I've navigated that myself, how to be me, how to be free to be me without having to be an accountant or like a lawyer or a doctor, but like actually be me. And I'm such a stand for that work. So when you approached me with that subject matter, I just knew that my channel, my creative channel, was going to be such a yes for that. And what's exciting about this crowdsourcing that we're going to be talking about is that there's going to be so many opportunities for people to be a part of this book, that I get to paint portraits of your children. And there's just so many creative opportunities around this book. So I'm such a heck yes for this project.
Thank you so much for being a heck yes. Danielle, from you.
I love it. Well, I'm a heck yes to being in a relationship with these two amazing humans, the promoters in my life. And so what I would love to do, you guys have dropped all sorts of little nuggets about what's coming. And so the purpose of sharing today is to really ground the whole rest of the world in why this matters, which you've started to talk about, and how they can all be involved and as excited as we are. And so what I would love to do is take us through a journey of the why and what you're doing now in real time as you finish the writing, what Nadia is doing in illustration, and then the invitation to the rest of the world to co-create. So let's dive in. I am most fascinated with this part of it, and that is that your work as a master certified neuro coach has really shaped the way that you think about language, the way you think about belief, and specifically language and belief in children. In children. And so, how did becoming a parent combined with that background heighten that awareness? Like before we even talk about the book, let's just lay the groundwork for what you became keenly aware of.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a blessing, and also sometimes made the days challenging because I just my senses were so heightened to language, how people speak around my children, reading current children literature, listening to children's television shows and movies, and I just became my senses like, oh my goodness, like just so heavily aware of how there's certain language that we just use in our day-to-day, but we don't really understand how that's actually impacting on how we show up, how we're free to be ourselves, and how really shape how we grow. I remember noticing, even on more so in Amelia after, I got this idea for the book. I noticed on one of her diapers, it was like, I'm busy, and I have done a lot of work with women who are recovering from burnout, who don't want to be living this hustle, busy, busy life. And I'm like, wow, just from the moment you're born, it's already like, I'm busy. And, you can be busy, being busy all day long and not actually like achieve things and create things. It was like, just like all of these really alarming moments, I experience with my young kids that had me see like, whoa, this is why we have so many leaders coming to transformation. This is why so many leaders get in their way. This is why there's burnout. There's, there's a lot of mental health that happens out there because of this. It's like, it was just like, how do we shift this? How do we?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is that there is language that we start to hear, words that we're surrounded by at a very young age. And later on in life, we are now adults in the real world with all of these life experiences and all of these words and stories and narratives that surround us. And in the work that we do, people are like trying to undo. They're trying to like undo what's been done, and they're trying to get back to what they knew when they were free to just be who they were as a child. That's the connection that you are aiming to make. And before we dive into Abby and listening to Abby, because Abby, who is your oldest daughter, was the kind of the inspiration for this book. You are the mom of two beautiful girls. Just tell us, like, what are your girls' names? How old are they? And then I want to ask you some questions about Abby.
All right. So I have Abigail. So she is 5, and I have Amelia, who's 2.5. And yes, the book itself really birthed itself when I was breastfeeding Amelia when she was very little. I can't remember, it was like 4 weeks old or 4 months old, but it was just me being present with her and being so connected. And then also the inspiration was just Abby. And I know you're going to ask me a couple of questions about that, and just me watching Abby and hearing over and over and over again people tell me, your kid's fearless. Your kid's fearless. Your kid's fearless. And I was like, yeah, because fear is instilled in us. And so if I raise my kid who believes in herself, and I'm not, like I let her be, as she's safe, like she knows safety first. We always talk about safety first, right? But it just reinforced, like, because of my awareness of language and my awareness of really being able to be my kid's biggest cheerleader and encouraging her to try things, that was the feedback we always got. She's fearless. She's fearless. She's fearless.
So I'm wondering, in addition to being fearless, what did you start to notice when you really started listening to Abby, in the words she used? Like, what were the words that she used exactly? Because, when we're talking about language, what was like catching your ear that lends itself to this idea of not like being in that spirit of fearless, of knowing, of freedom as a child?
One, I can do this. I can do this. That's her default.
Yeah.
I know I shared a few weeks ago, about her riding her bike, but that's it. She is so committed and determined. And she says, I can do this. And she did something called Kid Strong. Remember, I think it was like a year and a half ago, she started that, and they had an affirmation. It was, I am strong, I am brave, I can do this. And she says it. And now she actually says, Mom, I'm strong. Mom, I'm brave. And so those little moments of just that foundation of these affirmations, she's owning it and she gets it. And now that's what she's just automatically saying, because I'm just inviting her to say these affirmations, even on hikes. Another one she was saying is, I'm trying to remember, me asking, how do you feel? Right? I feel amazing. And I'm escaping. I know, Danielle, I know I shared that one with you. I don't know, Nadia, if you ever saw that video of, I think it was Jesse Itzler, and he talks about training for his I think it was ultra marathon. And I literally just started applying that with my kid, and I started to see the results, and she ended up hiking a 7K hike at not even 4 years old. So,
oh gosh, I remember that story. I love that. So I'm guessing that all of these words and these phrases and these affirmations, which, we could toss around like they're just the next thing we saw on a poster, they are real, they are foundational, and they make a difference. And I'm assuming a lot of these are what we're going to see showing up in the book.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And I would love to talk about, because ever since you started writing the book and sharing the manuscript with me, I started having visuals in my head, right? Like I started painting pictures in my head of a little girl that's brave and strong and can do it. And so that brings me to you, Nadia, who, by the way, yes, is an extremely gifted, fine artist, and in particular can bring faces to life. She can really breathe life into a photo, a picture. And so I think it's perfect. But from your perspective as the illustrator of this book, what stood out about this project and the idea of illustrating children and families for the book? You talked about it being so aligned.
Well, I'm a face painter as well. I've been face painting for 20 years, and the reason I do it is because I love children. I like anyone who knows me knows like me and kids were on the same frequency. Oftentimes parents will be like apologizing for their kid. I'm like, no, 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 no. This kid is here to teach us things, and I'm just here to listen and here to learn. And I'm always tuning into those little things that they say, and I'm always kind of correcting or offering improvements of how they could think about it differently and reframes. I just care so much about children. I love them. I feel that they're close to God as it gets. And my work is all about bringing the divine into this world. And children are step one of like, they're like stop one of God in this world. So
That
it's
is
just
magical. Yeah. So how would you, or how are you? Because I know you're starting to play around with this now. It's so exciting to watch you guys on the sideline talking about things. How do you approach capturing emotion and self-worth and bravery and all of these words that are these ways of being that are going to show up in the book, capturing that through illustration in the children? Like, talk to us about that
yeah.
process as an artist.
So as an artist, there's two things that I'm looking for in a painting. One is the form that it looks like the person, but the second is that it feels like the person. And so I feel like that's when the soul is really like it drops in. A lot of people can draw things that look like someone, but does it feel like someone? And so
Mhm.
I never let a portrait off of my easel until it feels like the person and that it really embodies that person's soul and personality and leadership skills. Like I wanted to if that child, if I'm going for that child feeling like I got this, then it's not going to leave my easel until it's like feeling that way. Like when you look at it, you're going to feel like I've got this just by seeing that portrait.
Oh, I love that. Every moment that we talk about this, I get more and more excited, and I hope everyone who's listening is also as excited. Um, I have the privilege of working with Alex and Nadi to ensure that the project keeps moving. Um, and I'm wondering, from a project management perspective, your guys's role in the process, what does this co-creation look like? And why does it matter that when you are co-creating from the words and the being to the illustration and the I feel it when I look at the page, why does it matter that it's not rushed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just gets right.
Okay. Go ahead, Nadia.
I said it just gets to be right. Like I have a very high standard for my work, and I know Alex, you have a very high standard. I know Danielle does. So I only work with leaders who are holding a very high standard for creation, but also because we're leaders, we also have an understanding of deadlines and having the both and. And so I just feel very honored to be in a space where we're holding that frequency and that standard of completion and of excellence.
Mm.
Yeah, I think, because I've gone back and forth in my head, right? Like I could just say, hey, Nadia, can you just go in and illustrate this book, right? And like we could talk about ideas. But the vision with the co-creation piece where you have an opportunity to actually be featured in the book, like there's nothing that replaces that emotional connection to that, to be able to have this portrait on your wall and you to take a look at that and see that sheer determination, especially as you grow older, right? Or for grandparents to gift this opportunity, to their grandchildren where they're, like, because you have an opportunity to sort of pledge, either scenes in the book or just standalone portraits in the book. But you can have a scene, and I always think of this one scene. It's the kitchen and the vision. Like I have visions for the scenes, but the audience, I guess you could say, like they get to kind of select the scene. But this one vision was like you and like your grandparents making cookies, and there's flour everywhere. There's that joy, but there's the joy to the generations as well. And it's like connection piece, and we're, and slowing down and being present. And that's sort of like the vision I have for different pages of like, also what's the emotion that comes through the different pages. And so that we can, I'm a very visual person. And so when we can create a visual behind, sort of the movement and the stand of the quote unquote affirmation, right? It's going to sink into our brain very differently. So I also want to share, like, it's been very strategically built on a neuroscience level, right? My background in education, also as a mom, that it's more than just a book. Yes, it gets to be a beautifully illustrated story before bed, but it really is about taking it a little bit further. There's a resource page where I add additional ways to create expansion, in the home to create your own affirmations and things like that. And we're also,
It's going to be so good.
yeah.
Like honestly, I get more and more excited about it every day. And I really want to I want to make sure that we start talking about the community and the involvement. You guys have been dropping little nuggets. I don't know if anyone's been picking up on that, but there is an invitation here for the entire community to be involved in co-creating this book. And in the days and weeks to come, Alex and Nadia are going to be sharing those exciting opportunities with you. It's pretty magical, to be honest. And I mean, sign me up. I'm already.
Like you've already pre-ordered a couple books.
Yes, my pre-orders are in, and the photograph or the illustrations that I will have of the children that are important in my life, it's going to be magical. So, friends, there's an opportunity to be involved, to have art that you have inspired, and that is coming and is exciting. And there is going to be a crowdfunding process here because the really big goal is, and what we get to be connected to, is to do this and to do this right and to get it out into the world. It's a huge undertaking. And like anything, it gets to be resourced, right? So if you believe in what you've heard today and the work that Alex and Nadia are doing to bring this important fundamental thing back to basics with what does it mean to really be in touch with the fundamental ways of being that we teach our children, that they are innately born with, but that somehow they lose along the way when the world gets noisy and starts taking over. It is really, really important work. I acknowledge you, Alex, for having the inspiration, for following your intuition that this gets to be out into the world, and for partnering with the right kind of people to make it happen. So tell us really quick where, because there's so much coming your way. where is the project right now? And what is the next step? Once the pages are approved and the artwork is in process, want to just make sure that everyone who's listening knows where we're at, how they can, when can they expect this to be out into the world and how to get involved.
So right now we're in pre-order. So if you do want to pre-order your copy when it is published, that is live at Free to Be Me Kids / pre-orders. And then we will be launching the crowdsourcing page. It gets to we're doing it at trying to remember the Indiegogo, but they do take about 7 days to approve the crowdsource. So that's so as soon as that is live, we will be sharing that. So you can go there. And then there are different tiers that you're able to get involved in some way, shape, or form. And like I said, you can get you can purchase a full page spread where you get the full scene and the characters or the people on it, or you can get the portrait. And if you purchase the portrait, and the character will be in the book on a page. And Nadia's got some magic that she's working in the background to help all that create, just to create, again, those different tiers. And I do have my own goal, and we do get to raise 25K by the end of January. So that is definitely a deadline there. And then, really, as soon as the pledges come in, Nadia can meet with you, because that is something important she wants to do. She wants to meet with the characters. I'm going to call them characters. They are characters in the story, right? The mini leaders. And I think I would let Nadia speak more specifically into, she knows more of the timeline and the time it's going to take for the art. So maybe you share, Nadia, a little bit in regards to, we have the funds raised by end of January. What are you thinking in terms of the timeline that we can expect that all the illustrations would be complete by?
I don't know yet. I don't know what our timeline is based on how many portraits are going to be asked for and all that. But I'm sure that once I meet with the people who pledged and I understand the type of portrait that they want and all that, then we'll be able to set up a very clear schedule of when that painting will be complete and when the whole process will be complete.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part of this, is it gets to flow where it gets to go. And our commitment to all of you is to be very communicative about where we're at, what the process is, how you can get involved. This gets to be free. It gets to take the time that it needs. And there is a sense of urgency around raising the funds and resources necessary by the end of January, so that Free to Be Me can be out in the world as soon as possible. So in closing, I want to ask each of you, what is one thing that you hope children feel when they read this book? Nadia, I'm going to start with you.
That they are completely free to be themselves, period. That's what I stand for. And and that's what's very clear, that's how they're going to feel when they read this.
And Alex, as the author, creator, and inspiration, what is one thing you hope every child feels when they read this book?
I think seen and loved, and just knowing that they're enough, just exactly as they are.
And that right there, my friends, is exactly the way we all get to feel. So thank you so much, Alex, for inviting us on this journey with you. Thank you for who you be as a woman, as a leader, as a friend, as a mom. And I cannot wait. Thank you, Alex. So proud of you. And it's going to be so exciting.
What I was going to just add as well in regards to updates and stuff, I would say go over and follow me on Instagram at alex.leanne.carter. I know Nadia and Danielle also there on Instagram. So updates and things like that will be there. Also, of course, there's also the website, freetobemekids.com. And thank you so much for watching this and supporting this and being a co-creator and co-collaborator in Free to Be Me and this vision.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.